All right. Let's see. Is this all working? Is this co-working, as they say? I have my very little silly avatar over there that I still didn't replace. Am I on YouTube and on Twitch? I am. Splendid. I love that. Alright. It's working. This is working. We've done it. So, cool. It actually shows this site as well. I don't actually need to show you this one, but this one is more important. This is the Fig Jam. Fig Jam? The Figma Fig Jam. That I have publicly on the Discord for everyone to look at in real time, and ideally, when it's more finished, have all the information on Penultimate in one place. But all the information being in one place means it's a lot of information. Next to that, of course, not everything is done yet, as you know, is a work in progress. So this thing will probably not be done anytime soon, but it can be updated and be up to date. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. It's a little bit of a challenge because me being me, I've talked and written down and some things not written down and ideated in many places and through various forms. So yeah, ironically, putting this thing together to make it more overviewable is a bit harder because I didn't make it overviewable to begin with. Big surprise. It's also a little bit because this is actually supposed to be viewable by everyone, and it already is. Technically, someone could already like be on here because it's on the Discord. So yeah, I'll have to see where I even want to start, I guess. Right. Maybe I guess really get into it. What I was doing last on here were the attack options. The different things you can do to hurt others. I had the weapons, have. This is still also not done, of course. But I wanted to go a little bit more basic than that and actually have the different ways that you can interact with people in a combatant manner. So firstly, there will be the basic attack. I think this is fairly straightforward. I'm not actually sure how much elaboration and this is really how it works kind of explanation I need to put on everything. I'm going to assume, for the most part, the people that might look at this are also people who already played other games. But at the same time, of course, I want to be able to have it digestible and easy to grasp for anyone. Now that actually reminds me, can I change... How do you change the backdrop of this? Nope, I don't want to do that. Okay. Let me see real quick. How do you change the backdrop? So it's a little bit less violent on the eyes. I also hope it doesn't just tap me out now. On stream, I mean. Surely. Quick actions? Account settings? No. No, no, no. Weird. Truly. Splendid. Splendid start to the stream. I'm struggling with technology. I'm gonna do the thing that a lot of people dare never try, which is ask someone who might know. There we go. Alright. Now let me actually get into it. Shove. Push. And grab. That's kind of really the different options that you have. When it comes really down to it, as far as I am imagining it. If you get into a brawl with someone, you either hit them in some capacity. Doesn't have to be with your hand, but you know, like you swing at them, you hit them to hurt them. You push them, or you grab them. Hey, crazy DVD, crazy DVD. I also know I could call you by your name, but I'm not sure if you would want that, so I'm gonna call you crazy DVD. Grab. I I can understand it, like at first glance it could seem very similar to push, because I guess in the long run it also like is about like maneuvering someone else, but a push and shove would just be like a one-time thing to basically like exert force and move them in that moment. A grab or grapple, I guess, if we want to get into terminology that is more commonly used by another system that shall not be named, is if you actually like hold on to something or try to like get control over it. In this case, I guess being an opponent, like restraining them in some way, because yeah, if you push someone, yeah, you might move them or knock them prone, I guess, but you don't have any more control over them or restrict them in any more uh, capacity than that. I guess it could be that they start the same, and a grapple slash grab would be just like you trying to sustain it, but I don't see a reason why I would have to go down that route. So for now, that's I guess the two different things. Hey there, Death Creeper. How you doing? Glad you could make it. I'm just now breaking down the very basic things you can do in well, combat, I guess, in a scenario where you want to physically exert yourself over someone else. Um, so yeah, is it? Nope. What's the key again? Nope. There we go. Possibly. Possibly move your opponent or knock them down. Yeah, I guess that's obviously it. Pretty alright, you know, could be better in some areas, could be worse in others. Yeah, I mean that's life, isn't it? But I'm glad to know that you're at least pretty alright. I'm pretty alright as well. This is part of my, I don't want to say attempt because I don't want to undermine it and say that it's gonna stay an attempt. But this is part of me trying to wring some control back. Not from anyone else, but from life. So I've already done a little bit more chore stuff today, and you know, trying to just be better in general. And as part of that, I actually want to also continue working on the things that I said I was going to work on. Um, Now, not to give a wrong impression, I never like dipped on Penultimate or anything. I didn't actively take a hiatus, even though it may seem like that. I was just very busy with work that I had to do versus work that I wanted to do. And now I have a free day, so I'm trying to make the best of it. Uh, Much more of a tangent that you probably actually asked for, but hey. So yeah, you know, we're pretty alright, and we're making the best of what we got. So, um, do I even do I even need to explain for this? I guess. Uh, Yeah, this actually leads me into melee combat. I guess the mechanical part of it I'm gonna have to leave out until I have that covered, or I am going to cover that. Chores versus passions, but that's life. Yeah, yeah, but not only chores versus passions, but also chores that are just good for you. I don't mean or necessarily mean to like immediately get into like very serious like drama stuff or like things that could trigger someone, I guess. But I have I have very strong like issues sometimes with what's it called? Not dedication, discipline. Discipline, that's it. I am a very prolific procrastinator, and or as someone could say, lazy. Um, so yeah, I'm fighting my own demons. Anyway. Uh, mm, mm, I'll leave it like that for now. Um, grapple. Uh, oh, why aren't you doing the thing that there you go, that I'm asking you to do? Um, hmm. Now, usually grabbing someone would be. I would both say grabbing and pushing someone would be a thing of like force, but big but if you know your way around with martial arts of some sort, or the weapon that you may be using to assist you in that effort is more lean towards agility, then I would argue that you can shove and grapple slash grab someone, both of them with agility as well. So I don't want to put it in the description that it's necessarily a strength thing. That's probably what it would like basically be like in the most common sense, like oh, like you know, two untrained guys like fighting each other. Yeah, it's gonna be more of a strength thing. But if you were a skilled fighter or know martial arts and know how to maneuver yourself, so you basically throw someone around by using their own momentum against them, then that could definitely be agility. I could be convinced of that. Uh, alright. Well, I'm glad you were here anyway, Crazy. Good luck with your work, and thank you for hopping in. I'm gonna continue here for now. Just without the damage. leave that there actually for now. I will... I don't know why you're necessarily like that. I don't know what's gonna be down here. That I need to make such a big space below. But, you are going to be in between here. There you go. You're also up there. Why not? There we go. You're probably free to choose either fortitude or agility. Yeah, that's what I think. Again, because of the nature of this thing and the fact that I didn't do this immediately starting out, this is probably gonna be going through any like number of iterations and differences to the text. I don't have to be that pedantic about it right now. I know. I would just like to have it be at least feeling reasonable to anyone who might hop in at a point, like you, for example. But that said, I mean, you know your way around already anyway, in TTRPGs and kind of what to expect. I'm gonna leave the trade attacks for now. What I guess I could be getting into more would be combat. And attacking someone. Because I don't have a sheet on here for now. I'm probably making you motion sick with moving the thing around the entire time, sorry. If we go over to my own board, which is not publicly accessible, but hey, you get to look at it now anyway. This is where I did, and I'm still doing some like work just for myself. There's no static evasion stat anymore. This character sheet here that you see is like terribly outdated. So take everything you see here with a grain of salt anyway, but originally you were gonna have a static evasion stat, and through the process of talking to people, evasion now is actually an active thing that you can do. That is under agility. It's probably one of the more important ones, actually. Because you make an attempt to evade something. Your evasion isn't a static thing. There's no just numerical set amount of how hard you are to hit. It really depends on if you manage to avoid getting hit or not in a fight. At least if you're aware of what is trying to hit you. Long story short, there's no specific number. You roll for it, and you roll for it in response to someone trying to hit you. And you don't just have this as an option. Even though it is the most consistent one, I guess, because you most likely always have the option to try and evade something, except for some physical circumstances that I'll get into in a second. But you could also block stuff, or parry, depending on the weapon that you have, if you have a weapon. I guess you could also always try to block something with your hands, but that's probably not the best idea. So, that back and forth I need to get into. Which also leads into the action economy, I guess. As in, how often do you get to react and try to evade something? Or is it just a given? Do you always do that? I haven't decided on that because I was terrified of deciding on that, but I will have to. So how would it look? I don't have any drawing tools on this. That's a little bit of a shame. But do I? Oh no, you do. Huh? What is this? I don't need to emote. How do you delete these? Oh, you just okay. When you folks take screenshots. Screenshots of what exactly do you mean? The old board that's not publicly visible? Anyway, beyond that already alien again. The free action might be an out of turn action that you can take. Well, ideally, probably you would always want to take it, I guess. Probably there's some scenario where you wouldn't want to for some reason, I guess, if you want to get hit or narrative circumstances. But yeah, let's quickly actually grab this thing. Oh, right, you meant alternatively. Right, I thought you meant it might be a free action and just out of turn that you can take. Well, if it does cost an action, then of course, yeah, there might be reasons why you wouldn't want to do it. Let me actually, you know what? I'm just gonna grab these to, I guess. You are not ranged to gain again. So let's say you are. Can I disable the snapping? Nope, I didn't mean to copy you. There we go. It's not fully free of snapping, but yeah. It's control move actually. But yeah, imagine you are here. The enemy is right in front of you. They have literally any weapon. They can also just have your fists. Because even your fists have range 1. And they will try to swing at you. What I have in mind, if you evade at the base level of evasion, you have to actually move to evade as well. Of course, this isn't like a proper physical or visual representation of how the fight looks. Of course, theoretically, if a guy just throws like a punch at you, you could evade it without moving much at all, like in a grand scheme. But if we're thinking about like, you know, bigger weapons that swing around and, you know, for the dynamic of gameplay, I feel like at the beginning, if you want to evade something, you need to actually get out of range. So if this enemy attacks with a is this nope. Let me actually yes, cool. No, why are you always doing this? I'm gonna lock you. There you go. I don't want you to move. If an enemy attacks and they have a range of 1, so all of these are technically in his range. The first like, I guess, level of evasion, you have to actually evade by getting out of the range. Should be standing on the map and moving when evading enemy or similar attacks. Makes sense. Also fair, but hear me out. because this would also leave the option for... Why aren't you moving? There you go. The leave for improvement, where if you are good enough at evading, you could at some point evade while staying in their range, and or evade while actually just staying here, because for you it might actually of course be of interest to stay here if you don't have a weapon that is that kind of, you know, range. If you don't have like range 2, then afterwards you would have to again move to swing again if you don't have a weapon of the range. And this gets even more interesting if you have obstacles. Let me actually, yes, just be black. Can I rotate you? Can I not rotate you? Yes, I can. Now this would mean that if you have multiple guys that want to attack you, possibly at the same time, then if you're not good enough at evading, in this case, for example, you wouldn't actually be able to avoid both of them, because yes, you could get out of range out of one, but you couldn't get out of range of the other, and you know, they're basically like denying the space. If you're good enough at evasion so that you don't need to move, or that you could even move into someone or further close to someone without you know, getting hurt, then this will be okay. And I think this kind of stuff makes it more interesting, because you actually need to like consider where you are, consider where your enemies are, and movements and positioning and etc. Because even if enemies are maybe not very good, usually, or don't like fully match your expertise in combat, if there's enough of them and they surround you, then maybe they'll just, you know, get to hit you because you get overwhelmed. Unless you're just really that good, as I said. Probably going a little bit in like circles. Now, because I don't have animations for this, I probably need to find a good way of putting all the different examples into this thing, I guess. But yeah, evasion. Let me actually see. Right. I'm just going to yoink this text to move it over here. Now, how this interacts with just improving your evasion in general might feel a little bit weird. Maybe it needs to be a separate kind of progression. Because if evasion is just a skill, where do I have it? I don't know, it's right here. If evasion is a skill, then that means you can improve it and just get like higher sets of dice. So at some point you would also get a passive upgrade to it next to the dice. So like milestone-y, I guess. Basic evasion. There you go. Now, okay, thinking about it, this could be, I guess, a trait to give you more options, unless I like hard bake it into the progression of the skill. So right now, if you just look at evasion itself as a skill, you would have the core die of agility, and then roll 2 dice for your evasion to avoid getting hit. This will be against the attack roll from the enemy. If you get it lower than them, then you get hit. If you get it higher than them, you evade. That is, I think, if you are able to leave the range. The role essentially being to like react in time. And you do react by evading, but you still like physically need the space to evade too. Otherwise it's just gonna auto fail. So like you need the space to evade. If you don't have the space to evade, then you auto fail the evasion and the enemy, I guess, hits you. Which actually brings me to another point that I never really thought of too much. That's actually a lie. I thought about it plenty, but I didn't discuss it. I didn't bring it up yet. And then if you prove it, you get like higher chances of evading, just like by leveling the skill essentially. But you would still need to spatially like get out of there. And I guess this trait then, this I guess 2-leveled trait, would allow you to, at the first level, it's already quite powerful, stay within their range and still evade. If you are someone who fights with knives or something, then chances are people are gonna have you in range when you might not have them in range yet. For that purpose, you would probably want to actually close the distance. But if you need to move, then you have less like opportunity to attack. Kind of just spitballing. So masterful evasion, would you being able to close the distance and actually get closer to them as they attack you, which if you know anything about real combat is pretty hard, I think. Yeah. But what this really leads to, no matter where you do it, as a trait or not, is that this kind of brings up with you having an evasion roll and or like a parry roll. That would theoretically mean the enemy has automatically hit you if you don't do those. Unless there's a passive stat that you have that is passive evasion, I suppose. Would there be any good way of determining that? It feels fair? Half of the dice? Basically like half of the top results. So if you had D8 agility and 2d6 evasion, would your static evasion then just be 10? Would that feel good? I'm not sure. I don't think it would. Especially I do like the interactive part of it. So I think that whenever you do get attacked, you have to try and evade or block. And of course, if you want to evade or block, it's gonna depend on a wide variety of different factors, like whatever you're better at, what the situation is, what your equipment is, what the enemy is using. Maybe you like some weapons are just way better at like blocking slash parrying. Maybe you have skills specifically for parrying stuff. Or if you have the straight for evasion, then evasion is maybe actually better because then you get to like, you know, possibly maneuver while you do it. Yeah. I think I like that. I think that makes sense. Sorry, I got fidgety. I changed the batteries on my mouse and was immediately distracted. I had to fidget with them. I have to get myself something to drink real quick. So I will copy this text. Back. We're working on combat right now. Let's see. There you go. Okay, alright. You want to hear the best sound there is? Such an over exaggeration. It's not the best sound there is, but here we go. Hope you heard that, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm not sponsored, by the way. I would love to be, but no. Okay. So combat. Nope. What does it mean to combat? So, guess we're going back to this. You are in the way and need to move. Okay, you weren't supposed to be on there, you're supposed to be on this box. Thank you. Alright. Okay. There you go. Alright. Hitting, blocking. Hitting, blocking, and evading. Mhm. Mhm. うん。Oh, did that make sense? If anyone was actually here and just listening instead of just watching, or both, um, writing out the different options for what you can do when you're attacked. So as of right now, essentially, if you attack someone, then you would hit them. It's that. You would, you're more listening than watching. All right, fair. Then I'll actually, then it's good that I'm going over this. So, um, I admit, and like at first, like hearing it or thinking about it, I'm not sure how big of a fan I am, but I know there's systems that manage to pull it off well. If you make an attack against someone by standard, you would hit them. That's just you would hit them. Because I didn't establish any kind of like passive evasion or armor class as one system uses, for example. But the defender or the attacked person will usually always have at least one or two options to try and not get hit. The first, as I talked about just now before already, is evasion. It's a contested thing. If you roll higher on your evasion, then you're not gonna get hit. If you fail the evasion, you're still gonna get hit. Now, someone could be just really good at evading. And then that's just kind of how it is. If someone is super good at evading and has the max die, the max dice for both agility and the evasion skill itself, then they may just be a god at evading. So the way you would beat that kind of person then would be to find a way to attack them in a way that they cannot evade it. Is kind of how it is. If there's an area, essentially an area of effect that they cannot get out of, then no amount of like evasion skill would help, because you're not gonna be able to, you know, yeah, like if you cannot move, then what are you gonna do? There's no way of evading it. Likewise, possibly if it's a magical effect that just attacks your mind, then being agile doesn't help. So it is, like first glance, of course, evasion is very powerful. That is until someone that you fight has anything that you cannot just evade. The other option against a physical attack, I want to say, is the good old blocking. Now, I have to get into the weapons. I'm not sure how much I want to like make very specific adjustments as to like what kind of weapon is this good or this bad against the other weapon types. I'm not sure if I want that. But very clearly, of course, there is one type of weapon that is good against defending, which is the shield. So usually I would say that blocking is basically a contested weapon skill. Is that realistic? That if you're really good with a knife, you can just basically block attacks from someone with a hammer? Maybe not. Maybe not, and maybe I'll adjust it. I see that point as well, of course. Like if you want to be like reasonable and don't want to have to like suspend your disbelief, I guess, then that's totally fair. I'll look at that at some point. But at the very least, the shield would definitely get a bonus to like blocking attacks, because that's literally what it's for. But this also, of course, means that usually if you're like attacking someone with a weapon and they're just a master of the craft with the weapon that they're carrying, then yeah, you may just not get a hit in like that either. And I feel that that's also perfectly sensible. And in that case, you would have to find a way to not make them be able to block. Again, magic would be a thing. How ranged attacks play into it, I'm not entirely certain yet. If I want to differentiate that, like an arrow, you could theoretically, if you're like just really good, and it's fantasy. It is a fantasy. You're doing this in your mind with your imagination. If you're really good with a sword, you could also deflect an arrow that comes at you. And I don't want to rob people of that. But I will still look at like how reasonable it is, or if I want to like give any like options of, I guess, progressing that or differentiating that, so it's not that easy. I also just saw that very, very kind of, where's my mouse was invisible just now. I also literally just now saw that this chat that I have on, what's it called, on OBS. I'm streaming over OBS. It's allegedly a multi-chat, but didn't actually show me your messages on YouTube originally. It's a little bit late for that, I know, but I literally just saw it. Sorry, I got sidetracked by that and annoyed at OBS. Anyway, so yeah, essentially, when you get attacked, you have the options of you just get hit. I'll see how I feel about that. Or you evade it, or you block it. That's basically, that's the options you have. Yeah. I do gotta say, I have still concerns about the auto hit. I think I'd have to see it in person. No, not see it in person. Feel it and play it. But I just like the idea of automatically succeeding in your attack against someone simply because, you know, maybe they weren't even like doing anything, irks me like a little bit. Like, yeah, normally, I guess, if you're not like an absolute like buffoon, I guess, you would also hit a training dummy that's like standing in front of you. If it's just standing there, not doing anything. But you know, I always, you know, there's always a chance for failure, right? I like the chance for failure. I don't know. Let me know how you feel about it. Again, because if someone's just standing around not doing anything, it's for some reason they either didn't see you at all, then it would be very easy to hit someone, but not, you know, but not guaranteed. Especially if you make a ranged attack against something. So I'm thinking of what would be the most simple yet effective way of dealing with that. Maybe it's something from yourself. Maybe it's not even the enemy. I say the checks would be contested, the evasion or blocking checks, but maybe they're not like necessarily contested like in the moment at the same time. Maybe the attacker still makes their attack roll first, and then the defender gets to roll if they even need to. Of course, I'm pretty sure if you would roll a 1-1-1 on all 3 dice, that should definitely be a failure. But the chance of that is like infinitesimally small. So that's not really worth considering or even getting into. What would be the minimum to hit someone? Giving the evade disadvantage. No idea how disadvantage works in Penultimate though. Giving evade disadvantage in what way exactly? Sorry, because I was rambling so much. I had my like head in my palms for a bit, just like thinking and like talking out loud. So I'm not entirely sure what you were referring to. Oh, well, when you attack someone and they're just standing there, or like they don't know where you are. Fair. Yeah, I guess it could just work. I guess, yeah. Just giving the person still a roll, but just a like disadvantaged roll. Yeah, no, advantage, I think, would be basically what it is in other games. I haven't written it out anywhere yet, as in like a mechanic, but yeah, it probably very likely will be. Also, when people like help each other in the game, but so would essentially be like roll more dice and like pick the roll more dice and pick the highest, or roll more dice and pick the lowest. So what's it called? The tabletop war game Trench Crusade. Also played that, very fun. Has a system like that where you roll, I think 2d6 for almost everything that you try to do, and any kind of like benefit that you have is it's called in the game just a +1 or -1, but maybe a little bit unintuitive at first, the way it's described, in my opinion, but the game is also work in progress. Is that no matter what you do, if you get a bonus or a negative, you roll more dice, but depending on if it's good or bad, you then pick the lowest options still. Of course, if we have one benefit and one negative, so a +1 and a -1, they cancel each other out. But if you have a -2, so to say, then instead of rolling 2d6, you would roll 4d6 and take the lower two results, which might already be very, very bad. So in this case, you will roll more dice. Now, I guess the DM could say what kind of disadvantage it is, actually. Say, like, if... we're kind of, like, deviating, but I'm loving it. Say if... let's see. You've been poisoned, right? You've been poisoned and your body is weak or anything. Maybe you would get a fortitude disadvantage. So your skills are still good. Your athletics or endurance might still be really bad, really good. Even though in this case I kind of said it the wrong way, because endurance literally here says like, oh, your ability to resist poison. I guess your endurance failed, but that's besides the point. You could have a core disadvantage. So that would mean that you roll more of the core die and take the lower result. And or you could get a skill disadvantage if for some reason you're impeded in acting the way that you usually would from something. So in this case, it would definitely be an evasion disadvantage, because if someone catches you off guard, you don't even know there's an attack incoming, then you're still an agile person, but your evasion, the basically your skill, your active like evading stuff that's specifically being targeted, that's the one that is at a disadvantage, because you didn't react, or you don't know that you're reacting to something. So that's with disadvantage. So that could also immediately be more brutal. If you want to say like you basically roll double the dice new, because in the sense of evasion is 2/3 of the roll, and agility is 1/3 of the roll. Doesn't have to be, but for some reason my mind immediately went to, if you have a disadvantage or advantage on the skill, that you just roll an entirely new set of the dice. So 2 dice for the skill, essentially, and take the lower 2. Doesn't have to be. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, that sounds good to me. Like a lot of systems do something like this, and I don't see any reason to change something that is working. So yeah, no, even in the worst case of like, person is not actually technically aware, they still get to roll. Maybe they roll really well, they roll like a god. even with disadvantage. And then, yeah. Alright, okay. Alright. Well, then in that case, I'm still fine with it. I guess it would be... What would be? Yeah, I mean, I guess we could always still leave it in the choice of the person who's being attacked. Blocking something with disadvantage or evading something with disadvantage. Really depends on the kind of person that you are, doesn't it? Anyway. Alright. Where is this? I gotta... Right, I actually got to finish out the blocking thing. I got distracted. Right. 1 second. Right. Oh, gotta open the right tabs. I have so many windows and tabs open. Anyway. While I'm just writing stuff right now, I'm not sure if you're still looking, if you're even still here. I'm perfectly. Oh, you are cool. The tab order, yeah, definitely. There's so many windows open right now. A lot of them for stream, not all of them, but still. While I still have you here, why don't we quickly chat about something else? Something very serious. What are you playing right now? Not right now, unless you are. You could be, I don't know. But you know. What kind of games you entertaining yourself with at these times? While I'm thinking of how to vocabularize this sentence. Is that a word? Vocabularize? That's not... I don't think that's right. Anyway. You are playing something right now. Sweet, what are you playing? What are you having fun with? Ideally having fun with. Space Marine 2. Oh, nice. Sweet. That game is getting an update in a couple days, I'm pretty sure. The Horde update, or Horde update? Wave mode? Whatever. I'm not sure what it's called. Siege mode, there it is, yeah. Yeah, I played that game a bunch. Played the campaign, played a little bit of the PvP mode when it came out, and then it got sweaty real quick. But I played a bunch of the operations with various friends. The Vanguard with the grappling hook. I keep mixing up the Vanguard and the Assault. It is the Vanguard. The Vanguard, best class by far. Operations most fun? Yeah, no, I agree. I think a Vanguard is the best. Not even just for me, he's just fucking busted. Good weapons, very good weapons, but the perks, especially the perks, like the late game perks, where you basically like sustain yourself and keep yourself alive with the stuff that you do, and the damage potential is crazy on that guy. But yeah, what kind of class you play? Mm. Fair, fair. Yeah, once you get the hang of it, it's gonna feel very satisfying. Um, it's specifically, well, actually, I don't want to say speak with false confidence because I think they made all the weapon types a bit more accessible. But from what I remember, fencing was very much not crucial, but made it insanely easier to like be good in combat because it let you like very easily like perfect parry and all that. Um, Start with tactical. Tactical always a solid choice. Like such a solid choice that I found him a little bit boring, to be honest. Heavy also good for the brr, you know, when you got to hit them with the brr. The Vanguard is my favorite. Uh, Grace. Deflecting or matching it. Yeah, typical jack of all trades. Um, Maybe still, but I'm not sure. Again, it's been a short bit since I played, and I think they updated some of the balancing. But the tactical, especially the auto bolter with the grenade launcher underbarrel attachment, was busted. Like stupid strong. If you pair that with some of the perks with of the Auspex scan, you could like insta kill melt the majority of the enemies, and you would also just get the grenades back for killing stuff again with the right like perk loadout, and it trivialized essentially the entire like game. It was that strong. I think it was nerfed at this point, but the class is still very, very, very strong. But again, in my eyes, it was just a little bit boring. I much rather liked getting into the thick of it and hacking things with my knife and blasting them with either the melter rifle or the what was it, the stalker rifle? I'm not sure what the name was. The stalker rifle may have been the right one or a very bad one. A 3-round burst rifle that is in the game. Um, the melter is the melter is insanely strong in regular gameplay, but I'm pretty sure melter things in general, even the melter charge, like the grenade equivalent essentially. I think all the melter weapons have been nerfed against both the like mini bosses that can randomly spawn as well as major bosses, which is just I I don't know how I feel about that balancing. Like the weapons are so incredibly strong and destroy everything, but then specifically those weapons are nerfed to yeah, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Like not necessarily even in the sense of like, ooh, I as a player don't enjoy it, but like design standpoint wise, not sure I don't especially for most of these or a lot of big bosses, they're actually not even like in terribly effective range for the melters anyway, because the melters are like short range, and a lot of the bosses may be like, not where you can reach them with it. Anyway, let me know what you think about it. I'm not too big of a fan of that like 20% against bosses kind of thing that they got going on. But yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. But hey, overall, really liking the game. The the most the most no, no, like that can immediately. Huh. Thank you, Automod, I guess. Where's my mouse? My mouse is a bit. No way. My Automod actually did its job. That's crazy. Cool. So I got distracted. Multimilta. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, overall, really liking the game. The thing that made me most annoyed was that the base game does not have any purple. And that's quite rude, I would say. Very rude, actually. I can't make my OC Space Marine chapter, um, if I have one, because I would 100% make them purple, but I can't because I don't have any purple in the game. Yes, there are purples. There's two purples, in fact, but both of them are from different DLC. I don't want to spend that much money just to have purple. I mean, it is the best color, and I guess historically you would have to pay more for purple because purple was a very difficult color to achieve. But I'm pretty sure in the 40k you don't have that issue anymore. So I'm not sure why I have to dish out extra money to get the color purple. Um, I have ranted to other people extensively about this, that I do not have access to purple in this game. Anyway, everything is rare in 40k. I mean, yeah, joy and happiness are rare in 40k, too, for sure. Um, Probably because no one has any purple. I think that might actually be a good point. But let us move on before I get a conniption. Um. Okay. Trade attacks. Okay. Do you mind? Not. Okay. Where? What do we do next? Let me think. Let me think. There's still so many things that I need to like write down in this, but what do I need to write down? What do I need to write down, and what should I first write down? Mm. There you go. Oh yeah, I should do, I guess, advantages and disadvantage. Mm. There we go. I think you would, yeah. Definitely. It very very quickly, I think, would basically mean there's no point in rolling. Um, but you know, chance is chance, and things can always happen. Still, um, I guess you could also technically you could, if you really want, you could have two levels of core disadvantage and one level of skill disadvantage. Um, you know, if you want to go crazy, maybe a core disadvantage or multiple stacks of core disadvantage could come from um, I don't know, you being in a really bad state physically. Um, maybe you didn't sleep in days or something. Uh, I I don't even know. Punishing galore, yeah. You could also, finally, I guess, you could have a core disadvantage and a skill advantage. Maybe, maybe you feel extra inspired or extra motivated. Not motivated even. Um, maybe you just came off the high of learning something. I don't know. The DM, I'm pretty sure any DM could find various fun ways of dishing out the advantages and or disadvantages. Of course, next to the very standard class example of uh, you know, you being surprised by an attack, of course, could just be one or maybe even two stacks of skill disadvantage. Could of course be like if you're generally always expecting a fight, or just a generally like very like wary person, um, untrusting person. Maybe you only have one disadvantage of skill, which is also I didn't do the numbers, but already very brutal. Um, I imagine. But maybe you know you're like half asleep, or maybe fully asleep. Then yeah, fuck it. Two levels of skill disadvantage. You roll six dice, six skill dice, and you roll the low and you take the lowest two results. Yeah, GG. Um, that's it. This could of course change. Could of course just be that skill disadvantages is not nearly as punishing just with one stack, because you could also just take one extra dice. But I like the kind of flavor to it. So for now, until I test it and it turns out to be way too brutal to make like fine adjustments, I'm gonna stick with this. Um, right. Hmm. Gotta clean this up at some point. What do I feel like getting into next? Or writing on next? Yeah, don't worry about it. Thank you. Hmm. Let me actually get something real quick. Where's... There you go. Right. Could also... What is this? Oh, I got distracted with a little hand appearing. Anyway. Hmm. Hmm. So what you're looking at, I guess, or we are looking at, if you're looking, if anyone's looking. This the progression of the skills, well, as of right now, as well as both, because it do be like that. The I guess level, as well as the cost to upgrade that skill. If you're on level 1, D4s, it costs 1 to get to D6. If you're on D6, it costs 2 to get to D8. If you're on D8, it costs 3 to get to D10. And if you're on D10, it costs 4 to get to D12s. You could theoretically still upgrade it after D12, I guess in some circumstances, so you wouldn't get a new dice out of it, but that would cost you 5 at that point. Now that isn't a lot of points. And I was thinking, just contemplating, how it would be if it's basically progressing one dice at a time. Not just one dice all the way to 12 and then the other like afterwards, but basically, a pair of the two, like alternating essentially. So from D4s, you would go to 1d4 and then a d6 and then to 2d6. And you wouldn't just go from D6s to D8s either, you would go 1d6 and 1d8 before you get to 2d8. This would make progression a bit more like lengthy, I guess. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I don't think this is necessary. I'll take a screenshot of it for now. Little cappy cap screenshot. Hello. How you doing? I'm not sure if you can hear us, but oh yeah, we are. Everyone's behaving well. So for now, I'm gonna get rid of this again. So combat. Is music still playing? Right. I didn't hear it. It was like very... Uh, combat, combat, combat. Now that are the big questions. Mm. Right. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I think. Um, I think I'm gonna call it for here. Not the stream, but working on Penultimate, because I am kind of like zonked out. I've thought and thunked, and now I gotta take a break. So I'm going to be doing something else on stream, which is probably play something. Now, what do we all feel like playing is the question. What do you feel like me playing? There's a couple of options. I could be playing... What could I be playing? I could be playing some Helldivers. Always a classic. I could be playing some Marvel Rivals as well. Now, wouldn't that be something? What do we all like? What do we feel like playing? There's also some other games that I wouldn't be opposed to playing, but... Yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna hop on Helldivers. So I'm going to be right back and change the scenes and get ready for that. Well, I'm if there's anything that you still want to talk about, I'm very much willing to and free to do so. I didn't dedicate myself to a game yet. If there's anything you wanna inquire or like start a conversation on, I'm very much free to do so. But just right now, I was thinking of distracting myself a little bit. You got any preference? The two top contenders right now would be Marvel Rivals or Helldivers. I can't promise being good at either of those. Don't worry, Nix. I still don't know if you can hear me, but We did talk about Space Marine too. No, sorry, Death Creeper. I don't mean you. I meant Nix, Zen. Cause they're at work. I'm not sure if they have like audio on or not. But yeah, let me see. Do I have it installed? Do I have it downloaded? Yeah, you know what? Sure. Sure, why not? Right. I'm gonna ready Space Marine. Let's go. Alright, this is not showing the game. Hello? There we go. Not sure how loud the game is. Hello? I guess I'll have to see. Did the stream information change as well, actually? Let me check real quick. Yep. It did on here. Oh, why is the quality so awful? Right, what am I doing? What was I doing? What's going on here? Right. Thank God. With all the skulls. I want to change that. It's been a hot minute. A little Death Watch-esque looking boy, I guess. This one. Sure, I'll be Death Watch. This my most Death Watchy look? Oh, I didn't get those studs yet. The color's also not entirely right. There you go. Hmm. You know what? Why not? Smooth. Let's see, on here I have nothing that looks terribly good either, I guess. Yeah, this, sure. Right, right, right. Dio. Salvation of Baka, the Instigator. That was the one I meant. Instigator, yep. Let me use the Instigator. Bolt pistol is fine. Do I want Melter for the pistol? Sure, I'll get Melter pistol. Always ammo. We could team up. Sure, yeah. I did just reset this class the last time I played, essentially. So I'm gonna be very low level, but I don't care. I got the skills to make up with it for it. The prestige perks. You know what? Here, whoever is watching this, you could just, I guess, put this in and join me if you feel like. If there's anyone else who's been hiding in the shadows, I'm not sure if I get a pop-up when you join, so I guess let me know then. I am one of the probably many, the very likely majority of people who I'm on PC. I just use the Xbox controller. Who prefer the Tyranids way over the Chaos, fighting wise. No, 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 it should be good. Should be. Mm, I wouldn't know about that. Well, I mean, if you're on PC, it's not crossplay. I'm still on a PC. I'm not emulating or anything. I am on Steam. Yeah. Let me figure that all out, I guess. Um, Let me message you, I guess. There we go. Yep. Invite. There you go. Send you an invite. Doop, boop, 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 boop. Lemao. Alright, well, I'll be here. Let's see. Bulwark. Sniper. Sniper, no sniping. Do you recognize this color scheme? This chapter of Marines, maybe? Are you a true fan? I'm not gatekeeping. I don't have any right to gatekeep anything, especially not 40k. But it's just funny. This is by far from the, in my opinion, by far coolest media of Space Marine. It's the OC chapter, I guess, of Astartes. Yeah, I think they're called Retributors. Yeah, the fan animation. Not this guy though. Looks fairly similar, but this guy he is from the Cinder Guard. Retributors, yeah. That's what I had the sniper skin off of. I think the tactical as well, yeah. The tactical looks basically exactly like it. Some details here and there, of course the logo is not the same, nor the thing on the chest. Um, yeah, Astartes is the greatest thing for the game. That is just a masterpiece of animation. Do I want to be one of those, or do I want to be Deathwatch? Or Skullboy? Yeah, no, that's true. I don't know like half of them. I only know some very like famous ones. But yeah, the one color scheme that I have here right now is one that I I guess, quote-unquote, came up with. Mostly because it didn't have purple. The connection or the visual like similarity to the Retributors from the Astartes is actually mostly just coincidental. What it's supposed to be, hear me out on my OC chapter lore dump. What it's supposed to be is a successor chapter, not a very big one, a very small one actually, to the Salamanders. The Salamanders. And, you know, the Salamanders are all about, like, dragons and fire and everything. And this is the quote-unquote Cinder Guard. So, they usually wouldn't even have any of the, I want to say important, of course, all the fights are important for the Imperium of Mankind. But the less, like, dramatic, I guess, battles. They are cleanup operations and stuff where just Space Marines need to be posted. They're, you know, they come in after the flame already burned down, you see. Very dramatic. So this color scheme is like a... well, if I painted actual miniatures like this, it would be a little bit more like gradient, but essentially from a gradient black at the bottom to a gray near the top. With the like arms also still like blackened and then gradiating to like a gray for the shoulders, etc. And then the helmet for a normal trooper would be the same gray as the top of the shoulders, but this of course is a commander, because why wouldn't I be a commander or sergeant? I keep forgetting all the roles. Whatever the one of those is, and has a white helmet because of it. Not only to signify his rank, but also because, you know, cinders and coals that are burnt out sometimes have very white ashy spots as well, so it's still within the color scheme. Sergeant, yeah. And the metallic bits, if there are any, this one again does, because the customization of this game is just a little bit limited, but no shade, is to signal basically to, you know, the color of the glute, like digging out some German, the glute inside with a little bit of the fiery embers like still glowing from within. I see you're a, what is that? A salamander. Let's go, salamander. Salamanders, yes. Salamander Death Guard, Death Watch, not Death Guard. Death Guard are heretics. Captain for company, chapter master for chapter. Yeah, will be a sergeant, I guess. Anyway, do you have any preferred mission? I just saw that I did these most recent ones only on lower difficulties. Again, I don't really care much for the chaos, if I'm being fully honest, but I'm fine with playing literally anything. But again, I will probably start out a little bit lower, difficulty-wise. I'm not exactly after XP, but I don't mind XP. You know what? Sure, let's start simple. Let's start with the first one. What's the difficulty of this? 5, 10. Sure, I'm level 3, so we can do 10. Wait, what difficulty are you? Let me see. Oh, you're 25. You are, like, maxed. That's good to know. You don't want to prestige your soldier. I see. Well then. I mean, you can probably very easily carry me through a yeah, let's still do 10. I don't want to like fucking put too much like uh yeah. I don't want to put too much like burden on you, so let's just do a substantial for now. No, didn't I just select a mission? Not entirely sure what weapons I selected. It is way too easy to accidentally like swap the wrong ones. But all right, let's do this. I love the awkward silence. That's my favorite bit. Just 3 Marines, their hatred for the Xeno scum. Alright. That doesn't bode well. Game. Hello? Did the game crash? Oh, no. Ah, there we go. Let's go. Ow. Ow. Oh, okay, cool. But like, I'm not sure if it was shown on stream rather, but my game genuinely lagged out and I died. That's cool. Love that. Oh boy, what is the game doing? It's fine, it's fine. Nope. That was wrong on my side. Totally didn't need that. Nope. Stop that right now. It can affects. That's not good. I'm gonna run out of ammo. Really has it out for you, doesn't he? Kill him! Yes! Easy, no problem at all. If you're not on the verge of constantly dying, you're not actually playing Vanguard. That's just how the Vanguard works. You actually have to be on low HP. If only I had the perk that gives me life on executions. A perk that I was very much used to with my most recent playstyle of this class. Why am I not allowed to parry? Okay, alright, alright. I see what's going on here. The game is cheating. I know you can do it. I believe. Oh. I'm back. Excuse me? Oh! Oh, that's fun. That's mines, spore mines flying through the tree. Easy. Oh, there's another one. Easy. Alright. I'll actually be less obnoxious now. I'm just very much used to a kind of power that I do not have. Oh wait, I should not have picked that up.
Inside the Astra Militarum camp. Talasa, you need to acquire the Astra Militarum demolition codes required to deploy and arm their ordnance. Source one from any soldier you see, alive or otherwise.
What? Why are there spawn mines appearing in me? I remember originally where one hit from even a Termagant basically immediately deleted a bar of armor. That was fun, let me tell you.
Smells like fresh munitions.
Why can't I see your health? Oh yeah. Yeah, you should probably. You don't want it? Alright.
Swapping out magazine. We must proceed together. No telling what surprises await. Walkway clear. All specs prime. All this unprocessed promethium shall make a path that will be seen from the stars. One down. Trillions to go. Fresh magazine in.
Gonna go this way, just because there might be a gene seed here. There is no gene seed. Why was I not able to? That's not good. Am I allowed to press something as well? Oh my god. Yeah, I pressed the wrong thing. That was on me. That one, I'll admit. That I absolutely... What? That was absolutely some BS. Okay. I think I remember why I didn't play in a while. Oh, this game sometimes. I can admit when I mess up the inputs. I mess up the inputs quite a bunch. But when I don't mess up the input, and the game just does not care, then I might get a little bit mad.
Canadians are running out of time. How close are you to the Promethean facility? Entering the refinery, Command. You are making good time. We are going to need it.
Oh, chainsaw. I forgot there was also an option.
Subterranean detonation in the crude Promethean. That will do. Use the codes to prime the bomb and finish its deployment into the crude Promethean well. Cautiously. If you know what is good for you.
You absolute bastard. You little rat. Fun fact, the German name for Ravagers is Lümmel. Kleiner Lümmel. That's not the one I locked on to. Oh my god. Please, game. Why would I go for the little Termigon next to the warrior? Alright, let's do this. We're not struggling at all. I'm personally not struggling at all. I'm totally not under leveled or anything. It is funny how a few perks can already make a big difference.
Axis aligned by the Omnissiah's will. Hurry it up, machine!
Easy.
Grapnel launcher set. Let us keep that swarm from ever reaching generation.
4.
Axis aligned. Hold out a while longer. Dismantle generator 4 in progress. Punish the ignorant iconoclasts.
What? Bro just spawned in front of me.
Deployment sequence concluded. No errors logged under the Omnissiah's watchful oculus.
The Omnissiah's watchful oculus.
There is an observation platform overlooking the Cryptomethium fields. It will make a good vantage for your ambush.
No gene seed. Sad.
No turning back now.
Who? Right? Bulwark just atomized that little Hormigaunt. Yeah, let's go. Well, I can carry it. I guess. And I will vow before the God Emperor I shall never be down again. Never. For the machine is immortal. Oh, what's going on there? Why do you not parry them properly? Right. What was that? I just heard a loud noise, and I'm fairly sure that my cat just knocked something over somewhere in the house. But I can't be certain of it, and I'm sure it's gonna be fine. It was audible and sleep. Yeah, I figured it was definitely something in the room, but I don't think a cat has the power to knock over anything that's important. Do you, cat? What did you do? Oh, the cat's hunting a fly that got in through a window somewhere. That's what's going on. See, the cat is also diligent, diligently, not vigilant, diligently and vigilantly hunting insects for the Emperor. There's a thing here. You are nearly top health. I would use it so that you are not on a lethal wound anymore. Because if you use it now and top up your health, then you're not gonna like die instantly if you go down. And I know you have the relic thing, but I'm not sure if the relic thing helps if you're already on the mortal wound. I think it only helps if you're on a regular wound, I guess. Ooh. Oh, that was close. What? That was rude. I still had, like, contested health. Why did Blake bring me that low? Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. The Blaze. Hey, Blaze. 2 minutes before I have to go. Having fun. I am having fun. Thank you. I was actually working on Penultimate earlier, and then I decided to take a little break. So we're playing a little bit of Space Marine. I was just really busy the last couple of weeks. Way busier than I would have liked to, but I'm getting back into it. I'm very appreciative that you are checking in. I hope you're doing well as well.
Dig in. We need that bomb triggered for optimal yield. Orbital scan estimates the bulk of the swarm will not be in position for a while yet. Keep your heads and get it done.
That's good to have, I guess. Should I drop it? I'm not sure if that's a good idea. If it works like that, sure. If it doesn't get like destroyed or lost or anything, then yeah. If it does disappear though, I know who's getting a little bit of a slap. I'm joking. You're doing good. Got to go. Bye. Alright, bye. Have a good one. Thank you again for checking in. I really appreciate it.
The bulk of the swarm is continuing along the predicted path. Continue holding.
Oh, what's that? Oh, nope. I'm gonna kill one of these first. You can do 6 spins with your attacks all you want. Oh, that's the wrong one. Shit. Oh, great. Now we have construction outside. I don't know if that's audible on stream. I hope it isn't. What was that? Oh, there was a spore mine to the floor. Careful, there's things behind you as well.
Halfway there, brothers. Keep it up.
Oh god. That was almost bad. What?
Ready for another tyrannic push. Switching to close assault.
Yes, all the Homagons die. You too.
Ordnance on me. You are clear to detonate.
Alright, I'm grabbing the gene seed.
Bastards. Understood, Command. Readying the charge. Tyranid biosigns down 90% and falling. Swarm annihilation confirmed. Excellent work. Move to extract. Thunderhawk arriving.
Let's go!
Ramp down and ready.
Easy.
Extraction complete. Returning to orbit.
No problems at all. Certainly didn't have any close calls or times where I was dead and had to be carried by my team or anything.
Deployment immediately.
Feels like victory. Mmm. Alright. Let's see what we got. Did we... Mastery reached? Oh. I didn't actually reach any mastery. Why did it say that? Wait, why do I have to buy them? I already got through all of this. I have to buy them again? Yeah, that is honestly abysmal. Okay. The early perks of this class really aren't like all that. Gotta be honest. Let's see. What chest piece did we get? This looks alright, I guess. I'm the biggest fan of it. Cool. Let's see, what other class do I have? Bulwark is 19. Sniper is 8 again. Heavy is 18. I could do some heavy, I guess. Sure. I'll do some heavy. I'm gonna do some heavy lifting. Oh. If you do it again, I have to leave. Fair enough. Thank you for joining me. What that also means, do I want to continue with Space Marine? You know what? I think put some heretics for me. You say that, but I'm thinking if I do continue with Space Marine or if I do something else. Little variety hour. I think I will instead actually possibly fully call it there maybe actually. I did a little bit of penultimate. I think some more about it on my own me time, I guess. A little bit of Space Marine. And I think now I probably gotta go back to doing all the other things I gotta do in my life. Oh well. Thank you for stopping by again. I'll see you around as well. And anyone else who was here or is here or maybe lurking, whatever, still appreciate you coming by and hopping in. And that's it from me for now, for today at least. I am going to hop off and see you again soon.